Hello, everyone. Today we have another success story with us, Miss Anvita Bhalla. Anvita scored 8.5 in listening, 9 in reading, 7 in writing, and 7.5 in speaking, with an overall very impressive score of 8. Hi, Anvita. How are you doing?
Hello, sir. I'm doing well. How are you?
Great to hear about the score. I'm absolutely great. And even greater to hear the score. Absolutely wonderful score.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
how do you feel about getting this score?
So I'm truly delighted, and this is something that I have put a lot of effort into. So I think getting the result, it is very good. I feel very nice because I think I have devoted 1.5 month for this, truly devoted it, and getting the result, and it is very good for my parents as well because they have seen me preparing for it, and it is a very good feeling.
You struggled pretty hard for it, I guess.
Uh, it was a little difficult because at that time I was actually juggling between two things. So I was preparing for IELTS. Along with that, I was doing an internship side by side. So I found it a little bit
Oh,
difficult.
wonderful, wonderful.
So it was a little
Yeah.
difficult to manage my time. But I made sure that I had my priorities set and I was devoting equal time so that either of
Anvita,
them
what was
were
the
getting
reaction when you saw
affected.
that? What was the
It
reaction when
was
you saw
so
that?
hilarious. It was so hilarious because it came like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was informed that my result will come the next day. So the whole night I was so restless, like I couldn't sleep, and I was just conscious that it's gonna come. And I woke up at around 4:45, so it was not out yet. So I just slept again. But again, at 7 o'clock, I woke up and there was a message, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is happening! I have to like open it." But
This
it
is
was
actually
not,
true, true or
yeah,
not?
it was
So,
true. So yeah, I was trying to open it, but the site was not loading. My ID was not being entered. So it was a little 5-10, it took 5-10 minutes. But after that, I found out, and then my parents were
all
actually
right, all
right
right.
besides me. So we were all like so scared, and we were holding each other's hands and just praying for a good result.
Wonderful. So let's talk about your examination now. So, Anvita, you gave your examination on 17th of August 2024, IELTS academic.
Yes.
And this is your result card with your listening of a very impressive 8.5 score, reading 9, which is perfect, writing 7 again, which is quite difficult to get, speaking 7.5, and overall 8, which is a beautiful score. Is this your first attempt?
Yes, it is my first attempt.
Lovely, lovely. And the result came out in 7 days. Anvita, do you know this? This is a magical figure. It
Yeah.
contains 8 in listening and 777 in rest of the three. It's a magical figure because if you get this kind of a score, people are struggling for it, and you get the permanent residency also.
Oh,
So it's a great score.
let's
Yeah,
hope. I
absolutely.
hope.
No, this is for the academic purposes, but I guess you have to repeat the examination for a permanent residency in Canada.
Yeah, I have to do it
And
again.
in case you're going to Canada,
No,
and
I'm
so then it
aiming for
happens like
actually
that.
Australia, but okay.
You're aiming for Australia, then you require
Yeah,
7 each.
yeah.
Again, it's a magical score for that. Yeah.
Okay.
So above 7, it's a magical score.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your result. The result came out in 7 days.
Hmm.
As
It
per the new
was
policy of
very
IDP, you're
quick.
getting the result, the paper result in 7 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the computer-based result is in 24 hours. So this was a paper-based result, so it came out in 7 days. Let's talk about your speaking. Anvita, your speaking took 20 minutes.
Yes.
That
I,
is that is like huge. That's absolutely huge.
I think when I
Like the
now
exam.
think of it, it was long, but when I was doing the speaking, I didn't feel that it was being like
Yeah,
I've
you did
been
feel it
interviewed.
exactly. So, if we talk about your introduction, you said that was easy with 7 to 8 questions on movies, news, and internship. Cue card was describe a picture or a painting that you like. The examiners talked to you in this. You found it easy. The discussion, you found it tough with 7, 8 questions based on art, museums, picture, and home decoration, with a lot of cross questioning. And the overall speaking rating is a moderate. So, I would like to know in detail what exactly happened in your speaking.
So I made sure that I was not very scared, and I just made sure I had confidence because I knew if I was being scared or I overthink about it a lot, I will lose my fluency and my overall confidence. So I made sure I had a good position. I was sitting in a very straight position and I was making sure I was having eye contact with the examiner. Thankfully, the examiner was not as scary. I thought like someone is going to be like totally
Absolutely.
like
The
giving
devil.
no, yeah, I had that thing in mind, but thankfully it was good and it was a very good conversation. I took it as I was having a conversation, not like I was being interviewed or I have to be under like in like that.
Under the
So
scanner.
yeah, so that's why I think I was able to speak more fluently because of that as well. Other than that, the questions I would say were like the introduction was quite easy, and I told the examiner everything that I had in mind. The cue card was also good, it was rather easy, so I explained everything and I made a very good, I had actually a very good story about it, so I was able to explain it very well. Now the discussion was related to like arts and museums, and it was not my, cup of tea, and I do not know a lot about it. So I was not able to, have a lot of ideas or a lot of creativity in them. But I made sure that I gave all the answers or just gave my opinion on the things that I know.
Do you think you could have got 8?
Uh, I don't I think
Anvita, do you feel that
I
you could have got 8?
Okay, I think I could have achieved it. I'm not gonna say that I could have not, but I think I'm very happy with the score that I've gotten. Because I think as a person, I am tend to make a lot of mistakes. So I did made a few mistakes in my speaking, and I think that is the reason why I have 7.5 then 8.
Okay, okay. So you know you made a mistake.
Yeah, I made one or two mistakes
Right.
that I'm aware of.
All right, all right. Examiners are cruel. They don't pardon you. They don't pardon you.
They notice everything. They
They
literally
notice
notice
everything.
everything.
I agree. That's what the job is. That's what the
Yeah,
task is
yeah,
all
yeah.
about.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about your writing now. So you scored a very impressive 7 pans in writing, which is actually quite difficult. 55 minutes it took you to complete your writing. The bar charts, there were 2 bar charts. That's surprising.
They
And
were
of a
two
moderate
different.
difficulty. And the task 2 that you got was children are finding it difficult to concentrate in school. What is causing it and what are the probable solutions? And you found that easy. But overall, if I talk about your writing, it's easy to moderate.
Yes.
And uh, it's a very surprising thing that the task 1 has been difficult this time.
Yeah, I think it was more difficult because first of all, whenever there are two different bar charts, I think it takes a lot more time than the other ones, because in other ones we can compare and it can be a lot shorter. But because there were two, I think I actually spent about 30 minutes on that because I had to spend, because it was very lengthy for, I found it very lengthy personally. And but thankfully, I actually, first of all, spent 5 minutes reading all the task 1 and task 2 question. And I made sure that I had ideas for the task 2 so that I do not lose my time and I do not leave anything. So that is the reason I was able to manage my time. So I gave 30 minutes to the task 1, and the task 2 I was able to do in the leftover 30 minutes.
Why would you do that? Like,
I
generally, people spend 45 minutes on task 2 and 15 minutes on task 1 and get a score. Like, why would you spend half?
I didn't meant to like do it that way, but because I found the task to very easy. Actually, it is a very fun story. So I actually had practiced this task from
Seriously?
my center. Yeah, it was so shocking. So
Wow.
it was so funny as well because
Exact
the
same
date.
thing. Exact
Yeah, it
same
was
thing.
ditto same. So one day before my
Wonderful.
exam, I
Yeah,
was just getting random tasks checked by my teacher. So this was one of the pending tasks that I had like from first week of August. So I had my paper on 17th. So I just wrote it and just got it checked by my teacher. And
right.
I was so shocked, like that same task too came into my exam. I actually thought I was dreaming.
So that
I
explains the
read.
whole thing.
So that is the reason I thought like I
That
could
explains
invest.
everything.
Yeah,
So
so that
basically,
made
you
me.
became overconfident with task 2. So you thought, why not I spend some time on task 1? Right. That's a smart
I
thing.
had a little confidence that I will be able to do the task 2 in a little less time than the task 1.
All right. So let's proceed further and talk about your listening. You scored 8.5 in listening. Part 1 was confusing. That is actually surprising. Part 2 was easy. Part 3 was tricky. Part 4 was easy. Like, this is absolutely opposite to what we generally tell the students, that part 1 is the easiest. And overall listening was easy to moderate.
Yes,
Want your views on this?
So I think I found part 1 a little confusing because it was actually like one word answers. So they were saying, like, for example, that I'm opting for being a doctor, but I in the end I became this. So it was, they were like two things that they were saying at the same time. So it was a little confusing to like figure out. But I think other than that, thankfully the listening was, it was in a very like slow pace. It was not like very fast, or it was medium to slow pace. So I was able to understand everything and I was able to concentrate. So I found, and actually, so the last part, I actually think I have done a similar reading to it in my center. Like it was, I don't remember the name, but I think I've read it somewhere. So I think I've done a reading because I think there are like, they can make reading and listening out of the
Oh, yeah,
topics.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
absolutely.
so
The content is
yeah,
same. The content is
yeah.
same.
So I think I did a reading of that topic earlier. So I think I recall that. But it was a little
So,
difficult. It was not the same thing.
so
But it
Anvita,
was,
what you're telling me, what you're telling me is giving me goosebumps right now that you've done the entire paper before.
I don't
Okay.
know. Like I am also shocked, but I think I have good luck. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good luck. It's probably
Yeah,
good
it's
luck.
probably, yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about your next part, that is reading, which you scored absolutely a perfect 9, which means 40 on 40 correct. In 50 minutes, you completed your reading. True, false, not given, summary, one word answer, which was of a moderate level in part 1. Matching names, true, false, not given again in part 2, again a moderate level. Summary, one word answers, multiple choice question headings, which were moderate to tough in part 3. And you scored a 9 band, and overall reading was moderate to tough. So don't you think there's a little confusion here? You scored 9, you completed in 50 minutes, and you're calling the reading tough. So please explain this to me. Explain this to
So
me.
actually what happened, like when I was doing the reading, one thing that I make sure is I just go through like all the questions as quickly as possible and just do the reading as quickly as I can, but with accuracy, not having any errors. So I actually practiced it because we had a reality tests and a lot of tests every Saturday. So I made sure that I am
Absolutely.
I have like a little bit of time after I've done all three passes, so that if I can I can like give more time to the questions that I found difficult and I'm not sure about. So that why I wanted to like have 10
Right.
minutes or even 5 minutes if possible. But I think the last passage was something that I found a little bit like the most difficult because there were headings and the headings were not the like very easy, they were very confusing. So I had to make sure that I'm reading the paragraph 1 or 2 times to make sure that I'm ticking the correct option. And along with that, I think the true false are also one of the questions that I face the most difficulty with because I get
So
very easily confused.
basically, you worked on your accuracy and speed.
Yes. I make sure that I had ample
Simultaneously,
time.
you worked on that.
Yes. I think I've
Ample of
built
time.
this skill
So
after like, yes.
if I rate your paper overall, it was a moderate level paper, and you scored an overall 8 bands. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So now a last minute advice to a lot of the people who are preparing here. Yeah. What's your last minute advice?
So I think one thing that I would tell everybody is to like give all the hard work that they can, like practice as much as you can and make sure that you are taking every task seriously because everybody has their own strong points. So as for me, I knew I had to get more in reading and listening because these are the 2 points that I can actually score well if I'm continuously practicing and making sure I'm not making any error. So I think practicing is a must and just build up your concentration, because in an IELTS exam there are a lot of people around you, and like a person has to make sure that they are concentrating well and they're not worried about what's happening in the background and everything. So, and for speaking, I would say just be confident and just be relaxed. I think relaxation is
Very
something
true.
that is so important,
Very
and
true.
it can actually lead to a very smooth speaking, other than if they are constantly stressed.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Anvita, so what are your future plans now? You wish to go to Australia.
Yes, so I already did my bachelor's. So I'm a graduate. I did my bachelor's in microbiology. So in future,
Wonderful.
I would love to do master's. So I'm more gravitating towards food science and biotechnology, that are a very good research courses.
Wishing you all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you
And
so
thank you for
much.
being on the show.
Thank you so much, sir, for having me.
Congratulations once
It's such a
again.
pleasure
Congratulations
on
once again.
mine.
Thank you so
Thank
much. Wishing you
you.
all the best.